Welcome everyone. We're going to talk about the game Hex Shards of Fate, and we are going to be talking about the Merry Melee concept and the format of Corinth, just to kind of give you an introduction to the format that we're playing a lot in our gameplay videos on the channel. So this is the intro screen that you see when you download Hex, which is free to play on your PS4 or PC. This happens to be the PC implementation. So lots of ways to navigate, but up here you'll see card collection. We're going to go in here so you can kind of see eligible cards that are available in Corinth. Alright, because Corinth generates cards randomly as you play. So up here you have Immortal, Standard, Frost Ring Arena, or Siege Defense. So we want to be on Immortal, I believe. We'll try it, see. And then you can sort by name, whatever you want to sort up here. But the filter, we want to only see PvP cards, because you're not allowed to create any PvE cards in Corinth. Alright, so now we don't tend to get resources created unless you have a card that lets you create resources for some reason. So close this here, and let's see if we can do a bigger view here. Yeah, better for you guys. Alright, so a lot of these resources you're not going to see. Now there are cards that will create them, especially if you like transform a card in your hand into a different resource, but it's not very common. So now we can start to see what are the potential cards that we can get. Okay, so if we go by the shard, let's just get rid of everything except for blood here. And then we kind of scroll through the screen. Notice the requirements here. So any blood card is going to have a minimum of 1 threshold requirement. Right? So you have to have 1 blood threshold for it to be played. So as we scroll through, we're looking for anything that's 3 or more. So you see some 2s. You can also see that I've created a lot of these into full art using dust in the game here. Alright, so we see some 2s, not seeing any 3s, right? Everything is 2. Oops, there's 1 3 here. Darkspire Tyrant. It's not the best card. I certainly wouldn't go into 3 for that. So there's lots and lots of possibilities to be generated by Corinth's ability. Charge power. Again, we've only seen 1 3. And if you do this for each color, and I realize you may not have all these cards. I happen to have all of them because I've been playing Hex for a long time. But if you don't have all the... Okay, there's Misery. Opposing troops get -1/-1 this turn. Yeah, again, could be great if you're going against Candlekin or Spiderlings, but maybe not the best reason to go into 3 thresholds on blood. But what I will say is, if you have the choice to go between blood and another color, if you do this and go through all these cards, you'll at least know which one out of the 2 is better. Should I go, okay, here's Sadistic Castigator. Okay, that's a very good card, so might be worth going into blood for 3 for that. And the other cards with 3 aren't that bad. Okay, here's another one. This is not good. Crypt play is not good. Alright. Okay, starving lit, you'll never get to play. I mean, you only get 4 starting resources, and this takes 5. 4 starting resources for each of the colors, and this takes 5. So, I mean, if you get something like a curio that gives you a 5th one, then maybe you could generate it, but it's unlikely. Or if you start stealing resources through something like Journey to Nightmare, or the librarian can steal resources. Okay, now we have a couple more here. This isn't good. Scrounge is no good. Now, Uranaz is very good, typically, but this involves a crypt, so you'd have to be killing things and doing it. Again, I don't know if it'd be worth it to basically, go 3 for Uranaz. Really, there's only one that I saw that I think makes it worth it. So really need to do this with all the cards. I don't think there's a way. Yeah, there's really not a way to do show by threshold. I mean, you can do by rarity, which might show you the ones that are most likely. So let's just do by rarity for a second here and see if we can see. So now with rarity, it's going to put all these sort of commons at the top. So now let's scroll down here and see if, yeah, so there's one of our 3s. Let's see, yeah, Shingami is also a 3. But I don't know if that one... This is an amazing card. This is why I always like to be double blood as fast as possible. That card is phenomenal if you can get it. Yeah, so okay, here's the other one. So it's a rare. So I would say most are going to be in rare or I think they call them legendary. Or, yeah, rare and yeah, I think that's legendary, but I'm not sure for sure what the red color is. So you really want to do this with each of them. Now you'll have to tell it to show cards you don't own. Trying to find where that is here. It's been a while since I've even used the sort myself. May not be on here. Let's see. Huh. I thought there was a way. If you guys know a way to show cards that you don't own, let me know in the comments. Yeah, these are not... Oh wait, show all... This is how it is. You click show all items and it's going to show cards you don't own. So what you want to do is check this so that you can at least see them, scroll through. You should do this really for every color, because you want to kind of know which one to get into 3 first. Again, my recommendation is always go into 2 on your favorite colors, the ones that you think are best, because if we sort by rarity, let's do it on this one here. Let's you're going to see a lot of the ones in, okay, that's common right now. We reverse the sort order. See, a lot of these are 2 or 3, right? So if you just stay with 1, you're denying yourself all of these, right? And these are great cards to have. This is incredible in Merry Melee. This as well. I mean, you just can't lose with these cards. Now here we go. Here's a 3 threshold. Now most things don't linger in the crypt, so this is not a great card for this format. This card is good, very good. Definitely worth going 3 for that, but not over going 2 in another color. Go 2 in another color, and then 3 when you've got all your other colors. Because again, you're only adding a couple cards to the mix when you go to 3. But if you go to 2 on another color, you're adding a bunch of cards, right? And you really want those options. So yeah, just scrolling through, not seeing a bunch of. Okay, here's another one. Okay, again, it's a crypt play, so I wouldn't worry about getting that one. Alright, Blessing of the Unicorns. It's an invincible 5/5, so that can be good, but it says if you control less than 2 other diamond troops, put it into your hand. So, you know, the odds of having a bunch of diamond troops are not that good, so again, I would not play it for that. This one's 5. There's a 5 drop in all of them. Don't worry about that. The most you start with is 4 in your deck, so yeah, even getting to 4 is going to be difficult. You can use curios if you get them. You can use stealing to get to 5, but definitely do not pick cards when you're drafting in this format that are have even abilities that are 5 and count on them happening. Like Bride of the Damned is an amazing card, but one of her abilities, where you steal things from the crypt, requires 5. So the only way you're going to get to the 5 threshold on blood is to steal from the opponent, to get a curio where you get an extra, or a card that says when this deploy, when this comes into play, create a shard of your choice. But those are rare, right? That's the odds of getting that in the same game as Bride of the Damned are not good. Now this is a good card for 3, but there's other cards that do that aren't 3. So again, go 2 and 3 when you have everything at 2, and go 1. If the choice is between going 3 and going first into a color, go first into the color, because you're just opening up so many more cards to help you with the situation. And really, each color is known for something. So Diamond is known for life gain, buffs, has some decent flight, combat tricks, things like that. Sapphire is known for transformations, transforming one troop into another troop, putting it back into the opponent's hand, transforming it into a Dingler, which is a 0/1 creature, various things that can help counter things. It's also known for a lot of flight. Ruby is known for speed, for rage, for going fast, being very aggro, lots of direct damage spells. So when you're choosing which threshold to go into next, if you don't have a threshold, think about, what do I need? Do I need aggro? Do I need speed? Do I need direct damage? Because if I do, maybe I should go Ruby. If you need flyers, maybe you need to go Sapphire, because Sapphire has a higher amount of flyers, as does Diamond. So you got to think about that. Blood is known for removal, so that's why I always start with it. You really want removal. There are lots of zombies, lots of crypt stuff, minusing on opponent's troops, making them discard. There's kind of just nastiness in blood. And then the final color, Wild, is known for creatures, troops, making them big, making them battle other troops. So there's some decent removal, but it's also about big troops, making troops bigger, and then there's some really good constants and some really good other cards in Wild um, that can win you the game. You know, copying troops, putting certain things in your deck, like 4 copies of a card. Um, so Wild is good for having blockers. If you have no troops, go for Wild because the odds of getting a troop are greater. Now, um, you will notice in your first use of Corinth's charge power that you will often see artifacts, and that's because while you have played a shard, you've only played one color and it's only a threshold of 1, right? So that means you can only see, like, let's say you played diamond, you can only see cards like this that are 1 threshold. So that's a limited card pool. So on top of that, you should have access to all the artifacts, because artifacts like these guys here, they don't have thresholds. They're colorless basically. So the pool includes all artifacts that are immortal, as well as all cards that have 1 threshold of whatever you played. Um, so that's your starting pool, and that's why you will see a lot of colorless artifacts in those early activations of that charge power. Alright, so scrolling through, just, we'll do 2 colors here. You guys can do the rest again using show all items here to see everything. Alright, so we're almost through this color. I don't really see, we're getting into the commons now, so a common typically is not going to have a 3. So really only 1 card again that's worth maybe going into 3 here. So, and that's probably Tianost, and I think there was maybe one more. So definitely don't try to go 3. If you've got something that's activated in your deck already that has like 3, it says 3 things here equals +2, or 3 things here, 3 diamond equals, plus 5, whatever, spell shield, some ability, then by all means, you need to go 3 if you can. But a lot of times in this format you also don't have a choice. So alright, so that is kind of how you can see what cards are possible to be generated. And you can change the view here. You can look at them in all different ways. I personally prefer this because I know what a lot of the cards are. And when you hover over, you can read the card text. But make sure you're on Immortal. Make sure you use the show all items. And then just change your filters here to see. You can also just look at troops, constants, actions, whatever. Yeah, so that's that. Now let's go look at the actual Battlegrounds is where you go to get into the format. So Battlegrounds, and again, you don't have to have any cards, you don't have to spend any money. There is a gold currency that you earn from playing PvE or various things. So when you look at this list on demand, you want to pick Merry Melee Corinth. And the reason it's Merry Melee Corinth is there are other formats of Merry Melee. At this point, they're only offering Corinth for an indefinite amount of time. There are about 8 or 9 other ones, I think. So what you would do is you just click this, and then you would click join. I happen to have one already started, but you'll see, like, when you don't have one started, you'll see like a pay 0 cost thing. You click through that. Now there's no option up here in the deck building screen to add cards, because again, the only thing you're going to have in your deck is this, which is these cards. So now I'll change the view of it a little bit so that you can see it a little easier. So the deck has 4 of each of the shards, right? So that's all that's in it. That's 20 cards starting. This shows you kind of the makeup of your deck. It says 0% because we don't have any cards that are of, that playable on their own. Now, there's no equipment because we're not playing a PvE deck. but I want you to recognize this is the champion. I don't think we can see the power here. You can test a draw, but that's kind of pointless. Thought maybe we could click on it and see the power. But basically what it does is you start the game, you have 4 cards in your hand, so it'll be 4 shards. You can mulligan 3 times to get the shard you like to start with. I like to start with blood. Some people like to start with wild. If I didn't have blood, my second choice would be wild, and my third would be diamond. I do like sapphire and ruby, but in this format I find that I get my best stuff in those 3 first. I will always try to go double blood before I go anything else, because I'm trying to get that really good removal. Unless I'm playing second and I'm getting, you know, immediately aggro, then I might go with a different color to try to combat what I'm seeing, you know, playing defensively. So you play after you mulligan, which, you know, you really can only mulligan 3 times, and it's your turn. You play your shard, and then there's the charge power that you click, and that will generate 3 cards based on the thresholds that you have at the bottom of the screen. So if you played a blood, it will show you all the cards that have a blood threshold. It won't show you all the cards. It can generate 3 cards from all the cards in the pool that have a blood threshold of 1, as well as all the colorless cards are being artifacts. I don't think they really generate resources anymore in that spot. So, you know, you could see a Dark Heart of Nalzan, or, you know, a Curio, or some other artifact, or multiple artifacts. You may even see 3 artifacts. I've had that happen. You could see 2 artifacts and 1 blood card. You could see 3 blood cards, any combination of those. But that's going to be the pool from within which your cards are going to be created that you can then draft into your deck. And so what happens is you pick one of those. If it's playable with 1 resource, you can play it. If it's not, at the end of your turn, all 4 of the cards in your hand are going to be shuffled back into your deck, along with anything that's happened to be in your crypt from discard or dying or whatever. And then you will draw 4 new cards, unless there's some effect preventing that. So you need to think about the cards will come back, right? So if you pick a 5-drop and you've only got 1 resource, you can't play it, but it will come back later. But you need to keep that in mind as you're picking cards. You don't want to have a bunch of 10 drops, because it's going to take you till turn 10 to play those. But you don't also want to have a bunch of 1 drops where you can't, you know, you don't have any what they call bombs, which is major things that the opponent has to deal with down the road. So you want to have a curve, and this goes for Magic as well. You want to have a curve where the deck has some low cost and some high cost, and a mixture, and things in the middle. Now, it's really risky playing anything over 7, because games don't always get to that point. So I would sparingly pick things that are 7 or higher, unless the other options are just garbage, or you know, the game is already on, you know, 4 threshold, and, you know, nothing's happening. I guess really 7's good, 8's good. It's 9 where it starts to get questionable. But again, I wouldn't have a deck full of 7s. You want to have a mixture. So just keep that in mind, and don't be afraid. And, you know, when you watch the gameplay videos, you'll see my tips on why I pick certain cards. I try to tell you every time why I'm picking. Don't be afraid to take, you know, if you've got 2 garbage cards that are never gonna proc, like the construction plans. Those cards are low cost, but you have to exhaust a dwarf or a robot to activate those. That's, you know, what are the odds you're going to get dwarfs and robots when you're being randomly generated cards, right? So between that and a 7-drop, I would take a good 7-drop over that little one drop or 2-drop, whatever the construction plans are, right? So just balance it out. And I've had games where I had nothing on the board and I really needed a troop or I really needed something, and the only thing that came up was two garbage artifacts that were not going to do anything for me, and a 7-drop that was a bomb. And I took that 7-drop, and I've come back in some of those games. All right, so just do the best you can. It's a great way to learn about the cards that you want to get. This game does have an auction house, so you can get cards on the auction house. You can get them through playing the game. You can get them through trading. You can get them through all sorts of means. There's websites that sell them, like hexprimal.com. I don't get any referrals for mentioning that. So yeah, that is Corinth. If you want to actually see it in action, just watch pretty much any of the other videos on this channel. If there's something else you want to know, ask me in the comments. If there's something else you want to see, tell me in the comments. If you're feeling like it, please hit subscribe and like. Helps me a lot. And thanks for being here and listening, and happy hexing.